There's about 15 or 20 steps. If you get one or two of them wrong, that skill is finito. And if you fail a skill, you fail the exam. I'm sorry to say, but you need to be focusing. What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Zed, back at it again with another video, and today we are back answering some more questions. Now, quite often I get comments on this channel about different things regarding CNA and being a nursing student, and I'm always here to give my perspective. I'm always here to give my experience, my advice, into my knowledge, what I see that works. So it's really fun to make these vlogs, and it's really fun to get this different kind of content out. I don't want to be like a one type of show, you know what I mean? One type of content that I'm posting, but I definitely want to diversify it at least a little bit. So if you are enjoying those vlogs, let me know in the comment section below. And if you already aren't subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button real quick, because we're trying to hit 5,000 and we're growing a mile a minute. I think right now we're at 3,000, like 300 and something. And you know, we was just at 1,000 at least 4 months ago. So shout out to y'all if you are supporting, and if you have been supporting. And if you are new, go ahead and make that happen for me.
You ain't lying.
I had a question that was asked on the channel, I want to say about 2 weeks ago, and I'm finally getting around to answering this one question. And that question is, and I'll post it right here as well, I start my CNA program in 1 month. Can you make a video on advice before starting a CNA program? Thanks. Really good question. Really good question. And I don't think I've actually made a video about this before. I have spoke about what to expect from a CNA program. And if you already haven't seen that video, you can see in this, I'll put it right here. I'll put it in the description below as well. This video has like 45,000 views, which for me is huge. It's amazing. I'm glad the video took off because it held a lot of valuable information. So go ahead and check that video out if you haven't already. Actually, go watch that first before you watch this one, because both of them have good insight, but this video is going to be a play on that video. And I want to make an updated video as well, because I do know a little bit of stuff that's changing about the NCLEX, about the different things you can expect from a program, but skills will always remain the same. Go watch that video. To answer her question, and I took her name out of it for the safety of, you know, people that are subscribed to the channel. They don't always want their information out, so I cut that out. But you start your CNA program in a month. Can I make a video on advice before you start your CNA program? Before you start, and this is not just for her, but for everybody that's watching this channel and this video, before you start your CNA program, I will give you guys the same advice that I gave on a previous video. Make sure you have an out before you have an in. And when I say that, I mean, make sure your plan is not just to stay as a CNA. Make sure that if you are going into CNA, you want to go into being an LPN. You want to go into being an RN. You want to go into being an MA, which is a medical assistant. You want to go into potentially like PT school or OT school, or, you know, make sure that CNA is not your final stop in the road to healthcare, because if it is, you will be left, I would be remiss not to mention, you will be unsatisfied long term. You will be unsatisfied with the scope of practice that we have. You'll be unsatisfied with the pay that we have. Granted, I make videos about this all the time. You can make a lot of money being a CNA, but the end goal is not to just stay here. The goal is to finish this, move on to bigger and better things. And I'm glad to hear a lot more of CNAs are going into being an RN. Let's actually get into the meat and potatoes of this. Make sure that you have an out before you have an in. Do not stop at CNA. And that's the number one thing I can give for anybody that's starting a CNA program. I understand, hey, you know, this is a certification program. I have access to learn from nurses, access to, you know, experience healthcare on a ground level. Because I would say being a CNA is definitely ground level work of healthcare, and it's simply the basics. You know, you're not passing medicine, you're not, you know, doing assessments, you're helping with assessments. Don't get me wrong, you definitely are learning a lot. A lot of information can be valued and gained from being a CNA, but the end goal is not to just be a CNA. That is the most valuable thing that I can tell y'all, but there's a lot more to it as well. For example, if you go into CNA, you should know different medical terms that come with being a CNA, basically. Learn a couple medical terms. Learn about what hypertensive is. Learn about what coding means. Learn about what ambulatory patients mean. Learn about different health things that you should learn about. If you take an anatomy and physiology class, good for you, because you have a simple basis of kind of how the body works. I hate how a lot of people minimize being a CNA into just cleaning patients, into just, babysitting patients, because it's a lot more than that. Don't get me wrong. There are people who view CNA as that, and I'm fine with that. It is what it is. That's how it's been. That's how it's always going to be. But there are a lot of CNAs that are getting a lot of valuable information, and sometimes that can motivate them to go and become a nurse and learn about different, systems, circulatory system, your lymphatic system, learn about how different medicines work for different patients, the different classes of medicine. All these things are things that you can ask nurses and learn firsthand from being basically a certified nursing assistant. These are all things that you have access to. Biggest tip, another one. Have an open mind when entering a CNA program. You've taken the first step already. You've applied for the program, you've got into the program, and now you're about to start literally learning about how to care for patients in a bunch of different settings, whether that's a hospital setting, whether that's a nursing home, whether that's assisted living, whether it's home health. These are all different things that you have access to after gaining your certified nursing assistant, and then taking the state boards, and then taking the state boards again for your skills, because it's two parts. You have your written and you have your skills. Again, I have videos on both. Go check those out. They will be listed in the description below. But if you don't see them there, go ahead and look through other videos that I have as well, because I have a lot of content. I have a very dense videos about a bunch of different facets and topics about being a CNA and being in healthcare. So make sure y'all go check them out. But you're going to be learning about a lot. So keep an open mind. Stay positive, because the job itself, it's not for play. These are people's lives that you're dealing with. And I say that every time I get a chance to talk about how serious being a CNA is. Granted, this is a nurse's responsibility mainly, but it's also your responsibility as well. And you should take that responsibility to help care for these patients in the same way that a nurse would, especially because I'm telling you guys, do not stop at being a CNA. Always go for more, especially regarding healthcare, because the opportunities are there. There's a shortage. You have access to bonuses. You have access to all this stuff, but it still will not be satisfying as going up a level, becoming an LPN, becoming an RN, and potentially becoming even higher than that. It's a lot of talking. I need some tea. Another tip that I can give you guys is, during your program, you're going to be learning a bunch of different information. For this specific comment, I don't know the timeline for your program, but every program is different. You will learn different things. They will focus on a different topic that another program might not focus so much on, or sometimes your program cannot focus on something that another program would really, be hands-on with. But the best advice I can give you is start studying as soon as you can. Becoming a CNA is not the most difficult thing, and it's not the most easy thing either. And depending on what timeline you have, my program being, for example, my program, it was like a month and like 2 weeks. But I went to class Monday through Friday from about 8 to like 4. And it was straight learning that entire time. We got like a 45 minute lunch. But typically we were in class learning nonstop. In that time, she told us to go home, study our book, study our skills. Go home, study our book, study our skills. I'm not sure if this lady was in the military or not, because she was like a drill sergeant, like blah, 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 blah. It never stopped. So for that 30, days plus, or 50 days or so, all we did was just straight CNA stuff. We hit the ground running within the first week. We were learning about skills. We were practicing skills. And I didn't even have a clinical rotation or clinical anything for my CNA program, because it was peak COVID during the time that I was becoming a CNA. So during that time, we had a setup of a bunch of like fake dummies or whatever that's laying in the bed, and we would practice, where to place a blood pressure cuff. We would practice how to change an occupied bed. We would practice range of motion. We would practice ambulatory feeding. We would practice all this stuff, and also would practice with each other. But that's where we gain most of our like clinical stuff. Do I feel that more of a real live clinical experience would have been more beneficial? Absolutely. But we did what we need to do with the bare minimum. But when I did actually enter the field, I felt 50% prepared, as in like actually interacting with patients. It's a different thing than working in a specific place with a dummy, a mannequin, than actual people who can say things, who can do things, who a lot of times in nursing homes are disoriented and confused. That's a totally different, thing. But if you are lucky enough to get a clinical rotation, I know that some programs don't offer it because of COVID, and some nursing homes don't want to let students or whatever come in. But if you are lucky enough to get that experience, take it hands-on and try to get the most you can out of it, because it will be beneficial to you. But study. And that's really the best advice. That's another form of some good advice I can give you, because those tests, those state boards are unforgiving. I'm going to say it again. Those tests, those state boards are unforgiving. If you fail an exam, and it's not hard to fail at all, you have 5 skills during the skills exam, and that's where I see most people have a lot of issue. But now, since I've been doing this for a while, I get more comments about people having issues with the written as well. And I don't know how, because the written is not that difficult, but there's about 15 or 20 steps. If you get 1 or 2 of them wrong, that skill is finito. And if you fail a skill, you fail the exam. I'm sorry to say, but you need to be focusing. Absolutely. You need to be focusing, because these exams are unforgiving, and you will have to pay out of pocket to take the exams again. But just study, man. Study, because healthcare is a very broad but a very niche industry, and you can go into it and become a tech in a hospital working for a specific unit. You can go into a nursing home and have the best experience ever. And I tell techs all the time, just do hospital, because the goal is for you to become a nurse. I wouldn't tell anybody to become a CNA and expect to just stay there unless they're older in age, or sometimes people just don't want to be nurses. They would like to be CNAs. But if you're young and you have the means, you have the ability to become a nurse or LPN or a medical assistant or something more than a CNA, do it, because it will become very dissatisfying knowing that the trajectory of your plan for life is just that. And I've been a CNA for more than a year now, and I'm loving it. But I also know that real soon that RN is going to be behind my name. So that's, one thing. I feel like I was able to answer that question. Everybody's going to experience their program different, and I tried to give you the best advice that I could give you, as in like getting ready to, do your CNA course. I hope that answered a lot of your questions. The best advice I can give you is make your career goals. Know that CNA is not the end goal. Make sure that you are not stopping there. Secondly, keep an open mind, because you can learn a lot, and it's a lot of opportunity out there. So don't limit yourself. Do not limit yourself. No CNA should limit themselves. Be subjected to, a bad experience and let that be the end all be all. Oh. I'm glad I started going over them again. Study, don't get me wrong, but give it time. That's the final tip I have for you guys on this channel. Give it time. Give your program time. You might be like, this is not what I expected. Give it time, because after 2.5 months of me being a CNA, I didn't know if I wanted to continue. But literally, I think it was just the environment that I was in. I was working for an agency. I was going from, facility to facility to facility, and it became very depressing. The second I joined the hospital, it was like a switch. I started enjoying my job more. I started working behind nurses that actually spoke to me on a consistent basis and was willing to give me information that I didn't feel like I received at a nursing home. So, give it time. Give it time. Be patient. keep an open mind, study. And yeah, that's the best advice I can give to y'all. Learn a little bit about medical terms because you will be coming across them a lot. But you're getting ready for your CNA, program. This is the video you need to watch. So go ahead and share this with your classmates. Share this with your friends. Anyone that you can think that can gain value from this video, go ahead and share it. Go ahead and comment below. I'm trying to get a bunch of comments for these videos and a bunch of likes to push me up in the algorithm. So if you made it this far, shout out to you. And that's all I got for you on this video. I will see you on another one. I got another vlog being posted and then a final girlfriend tag being posted. I might separate that and make a whole new channel because I don't want to confuse the audience and let YouTube do its thing and throw everything out of whack. But appreciate you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys for making it this far. Keep rocking with me because I'm rocking with you. All right. See you on the next one. Peace.